Alright my friends, how you all doing? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to a brand new episode of our city zoo build, Tropical Wings Zoo. So last episode, my friends, in case you haven't missed it, is linked above. Feel free to go and check that one out. Now, today's episode is going to be a short one. I've kind of been up against it a little bit where Tropical Wings is concerned, but I want to show you what I've been up to. We've done a bit of a rebuild of part of one of our habitats, and I have made a start on a brand new restaurant as well. So I kind of want to use today to kind of bring you up to date with what I've been doing, and I know what I'm going to be doing next, so we can talk about that too. So here we are in the entrance of Tropical Wings, my friends, and I have been hard at work. Obviously, the last couple of episodes have been more towards the Twilight Pack DLC, and then I gave you an episode where I kind of planned out where all the animals were going to go. Then during the course of a live stream this week, I was rebuilding part of a habitat, and I'd kind of made a start on something, and essentially I finished the brand new stable for our horses, and then I'm going to show you the groundwork of the restaurant and kind of explain how that's going to work basically going forward. And then I am going to talk to you about the area that I'm going to continue to kind of work on for the time being, because I'm feeling quite inspired, and a lot of people were saying in the comments from the planning video that I should really just stick with what I'm inspired to build rather than, you know, moving over and building other stuff just to please people. And I do really appreciate those comments. So let's jump into today's episode, my friends. I don't want to waffle too much, and I don't want to keep you all too long either. So one of the big things that I have done is I have rebuilt this stable. As you can see, it's a lot larger than it was before, but it needed to be. The stable that we had last time was really small, and I was getting problems with it as well. It was causing the game to glitch a little bit. Our staff were ending up on the ceiling. Our horses, when they were being boxed up, couldn't return to the habitat and stuff. So it was a complete mess. So I've done a big redesign, and we're going to take a look at that in a lot of detail. It's actually meant that I've redesigned the entire kind of back area of this part of the habitat as well, which is pretty cool, to be honest with you. And it's kind of led me down this path that I kind of know what I want to do with this ledge over here as well, which is pretty cool. And then, as you can see, off in the distance over there is the beginnings of the restaurant that's going to kind of be sort of the section that separates the sea lions from the rest of kind of the North American area. It's going to be like a nice little meeting point, high-low areas. It's really cool. It's going to be great, and I'm going to explain it to you. But first and foremost, let's take a look at the brand new stable that we've got for our horses over here. So if we were to look at the back, you can see just how much larger the building was. It used to literally be like where this point is, like there. It was so small before, but I've made it a lot larger. These animals are a lot bigger than you first realise when you put them into the game. So we've kind of got this section here, which is more of a staff section, and then this long section here is where all the stables are. Now, if there are any more touches that people think I need to do when I show you it, please let me know in the comments. I feel like I've done a pretty good job to this point, but there might be a couple of details missing. Sometimes you miss things when you're building. But yeah, it's helped me kind of tie up the back lot back here as well. I've got a fair bit of planting to do kind of over here, and I do need to finish this bit of planting. But it's left me with this little space here that we could probably put some like junk and some wood and stuff like that next to this. I can get all the road markings done next time as well. I've taken this bit of concrete out around here because it looked weird, because I would have had to take it all the way along. So literally we've just got this concrete here that bridges this gap, because this is for vehicles to come in and out, you will remember. So that was a little bit of work I did as well. So we have one entrance here, we've got a smaller entrance there, and then we do actually have an entrance up that end just because the building is so big. So if we head on in, gang, this is what the new stable looks like. So as you can see, we've got our staff in here. It's so much bigger. There's so much more space. It makes a lot more sense as well, because our zookeeper can just go straight up out there into the habitat. It makes a lot more sense. Look at the beautiful horse. I really love the design of this. I really think they nailed it. Yeah, so we have, it's a very, very different now. The ceiling is low here, but it's a lot higher over here, which you'll see in a moment. So we've got this little section here, bit of sort of hay hay storage and whatnot. We probably could add some more stuff in there, you know, at a later date if people think we sort of need to. And then as you can see, we've kind of rearranged all this. This is quite window heavy, this stable, because I wanted to get like flood it with natural light. And I've got to be honest with you, because of the way I'm doing the windows now, I'm doing them slightly differently using different pieces. I think that the windows are going to be far nicer to build on a lot of the buildings, so I'm definitely going to take a look at that. I think the old style of windows I used to do are fitting for certain builds, but I think for others like this, I think this kind of style makes a bit more sense. I really lent heavily on the buffalo stable basically for this. So yeah, we've got kind of all of our bits and pieces here. If we continue up, we have got like a little cabinet just to keep a few things on. It does, to be fair, it does feel a little odd and a little out of place, but I think if we start adding some boxes and a few more bits over there, I don't think it will. We got a little water point here, but we've got numerous water points kind of in this stable because it really makes sense to do so. And then the way I've done the stables is very similar to the buffaloes, but I've added these wooden panels at the bottom and I've used this metal piece, and I think they've come out really nice. It looks absolutely stunning. We've got our little gates here, you know, just so we can separate our zookeeper kind of as and when we need to, and I think it looks really nice. I really do. I'm absolutely in love with it. Now we come through this way, we've got this little bit of space here. Now what I've done with this, I kind of left this little bit of space. I do know a little bit about stables because obviously I've mentioned it numerous times that I, you know, sort of grew up on a farm, so to speak, because my nan and granddad lived in Ireland and whatnot, and they kept horses. And one of the big things that was that I see a lot, because they dealt with a lot of people that had horses as well, was they would have these little areas and they would just put things across, or this is where they would rope the horses on and, you know, tend to them, you know, brush them, deal with their hooves and that sort of stuff. Now the zoo would do that, and so that's why I've left kind of like this little area here as kind of like a pit stop for anything like that, you know, potentially if a vet needed to come in and look as well. It kind of made sense to do that. You can see at opening, I've not put a door on this one, and the only reason I haven't put a door on it is because it would need to be, you know, left open, and it looked a bit weird, so I've just left it off instead. Sometimes, you know, the realism has to take a back seat just for the aesthetics to be quite nice, basically. And then these are the stables. So as you can see, they're a lot larger, gang, a lot larger. Absolutely loving them. We've got a slide door, so a pulley slide door system. This is something that's commonly used, and metal is a material that's being used a lot more as well with stables. It used to be heavy wood, but now they're really going with a lot more kind of metals, perspex plastics. I've used wood in this just because we don't really have anything that kind of would look the way I wanted it to, so I've used wood. But yeah, they are leaning to using different materials now. So yeah, as you can see, I've overlapped this all like quite nicely, so you can see the overlaps and whatnot there, just to make sure that that door would make sense in that kind of slidey system. And yeah, there your doors and whatnot. We've got some drainage all the way along. We've got a tap kind of in the middle as well. But yeah, as you go along, you can see all the stables are quite unison and uniform. Now, I used the Planet Zoo Plus mod, gang. If you're looking at this and thinking this is a bit tight, the animals won't get down there, do remember I used the Planet Zoo Plus mod, and it basically helps with the hitboxes and makes them smaller. If that's something that interests you, gang, you can find the link to it in my description. You just need to set up a Nexus account, but then you can download all the mods for Planet Zoo, and they're really easy to install as well, if you're worried and a bit put off that it might be difficult. And then yeah, as you can see, we've kind of got the same up this end. I've actually put a gate up here, a door up here, so just to close this off, because to be fair, the last thing we want is our horses coming up here and disappearing here, and then the guests can't see them. So I decided to close the stable door up this end, basically. And then yeah, we just go through a little gate here. It's just another one up the end, and we've got like another little section with some hoses and whatnot that can be used to kind of like wash everything down and things like that. And then we've got a door up here, which I haven't put the handle on the inside. That's all right. That's a very quick fix anyway. We had this little weird indentation up here because of the way the door was and stuff. But I genuinely don't mind it. I quite like it when you get these weird little angles to your buildings and whatnot. As you can see, the roof looks really different on the inside. I always go with like a metal kind of effect on the inside, and then it's a custom roof on the outside. It's becoming a very regular thing, isn't it? The custom roofs on my builds now. But yeah. I probably do need to go over it and just discolour a few of them because it looks a bit brand new, doesn't it, at the moment? But then I guess it is brand new. It's a replacement for kind of what was already there. And then, yeah, that's kind of what it looks like. I think it's a very, very beautiful looking stable. I'm actually really in love with it, and it's just literally, it's just husbandry. It's just a housing unit. But I did have to redesign all this, as you can see, gang. So I will kind of like talk to you about that. Look at all of the foals. Look at all this. This is beautiful. So yeah, this is the same over here. I think we pulled the building just a bit towards us. Maybe I think we pulled it this way a little bit. I had to kind of take a few panels of this fence out just to kind of get this bit on the end. And then this is obviously a lot longer now, this building, as you can see. It's a hell of a lot longer. There's a lot of space kind of back here for the horses though, if they want a bit of privacy, which is quite nice. But I've put this concrete wall up the back, so basically it's just following on from what we were doing here, and I continued that wall and I put the fence in, and I think it actually has worked out really, really nice. I just need to put the end of that fence on. I'm actually going to do that now, otherwise I'll forget. So yeah, let me just put that little end of the fence on. Job done. Lovely. We can now get rid of that. That's beautifully done. Very, very quick. Yeah, you can see the fence looks really, really cool. Someone in the stream when we were building this said that I love that fence. It's really cute. It's really simple, gang. It's just a mesh piece with a couple of metal posts and then just some wooden ones on the lines where the mesh is. It's really simple to make. Trust me, you can make it yourself. It's really simple. And then I've been using that gravel item that I downloaded off the workshop. Lots of people keep asking questions about this. It's something that Leaf made. Apparently it's a piece that's inside the game but just isn't available, but Leaf managed to make it available, so you can actually download it off the workshop and use it as a piece. It's really, really cool. I absolutely love it, and I've been using it a hell of a lot recently. So yeah, you can see the wall now kind of is quite a heavy part of this holding area. This is sort of the area that would be used if the animals were being transported in and out, or if they needed to separate one for a little bit or whatnot. They can do that. So yeah, I kind of carried this wall. I used the wall that was already there as part of this, and then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to carry this wall on kind of this way, and I'm going to plant all in here, but we are using a mesh fence, so we're going to use that mesh fence, and then I'm going to use a proper fence so we don't see the backstage stuff. I'm going to use a proper fence because this is going to be a path basically that's going to join up. So from here we're going to turn this corner, we're going to go up because this is quite high, so we're going to go up and use a path, and there's going to be this mesh fence and some planting, but you'll still have like a weird, like, it'll be like a unique kind of view of the animals. It will just be through this fence and through some foliage, and then we're going to walk this way, and then it will come off at this angle. It will come off at this angle, and then it will come up this way, and what we're going to do is there'll be a gate for the road, and then there'll be another gate the other side, and that will be to join up the back lot stuff that's going to be up here basically. It's just the way zoos operate. It's impossible to get these consistent roads through zoos sometimes, especially city zoos. It's really hard. So yeah, that's what we're going to do, and then that path will go all the way kind of over this way towards the NA area. There might obviously be some animals that you'll be able to see, at a later date, but for now that's kind of the direction it's going to go. The reason I'm not putting the path in is because, like I say, there could be animals getting planned around here, so we might end up changing the way the path goes. I added in a second stair set. Don't know if I'm going to make this available to our zookeeper to use, but yeah, I kind of felt like it rounded that off nicer doing that. So I added a second stair set, and then we carried this path round, and I've put a fence in, as you can see, and then that's going to carry on in that direction, kind of fencing it off. I don't want to carry on using this wall, because that wall was only supposed to be for the sea lions, but I think that we could probably use it in and around the kind of NA area. But I don't want to keep using it really heavily, you know, like I don't want to go over the top with it. Yeah, so that's that. So that is the stable. Let me know what you make of it, gang. I had a lot of fun building that on stream. I actually got most of it done on stream. So we had a lot of fun building that. So yeah, that is now done, everyone. So let me know what you think of the finished product. This bit I kept the same, by the way. This wooden post holding up that little bit of the roof with the solar panels on and whatnot, and that door being there. I actually really like that, so that's why I kept it. But the other thing I want to show you today, before I move on and talk to you about what we're going to really be concentrating on over the next few episodes, is this restaurant, basically, and the sort of plan that I've slowly started to get in place. So I was quite inspired the other day to get the restaurant started. And the other reason that I started it is because I needed to get the restaurant in before I could build the beaver, and before I could really think about the doll sheep and the wolf, basically, because I just wasn't sure about placement. I really wasn't sure about placement and where things were going to go. So I really had to think about it, and so I needed to get the restaurant in. Now, from this view, it's going to look like it's got a very big blueprint, okay? But what you have to understand about restaurants is, like, we've got to put a lot of seating in, because I'm actually using the proper restaurant thing. I'm not a fan of it, personally. I like the way it works, because obviously the guests will actually sit at the tables. That part of it I like, but I don't like the way it actually works. The way they walk through, there's that weird window. Restaurants don't work that way. You walk into a restaurant, there's usually a little desk like there, and then they'll go and seat you. Do you know what I mean? Restaurants work. They don't work like this, so I'm not a fan of that. But I've got a way that I think I'm going to be able to disguise it, and we're going to be able to do a good job to make this look like a kind of open kitchen with the counters here. So it's like a posh, fast foody type thing, but this is going to be like they haven't got it in the game, but we're treating it like it's a fish and chip shop, basically, is what the plan was initially. And so that's what I'm doing, which is why we're going with these kind of, these deep blue colours with the grey and the white. I think it's going to look really nice. I've got a great design kind of in mind, stuff I'm going to be putting above, like these murals and whatnot. I genuinely think it's going to look amazing, to be honest with you. But what I'm doing is, it's going to be a proper restaurant, so you could go and sit down and order if you wanted, but also you could just go up and order. You can go up and kind of collect some food and stuff, as well as having that kind of open kitchen in the back. That's kind of the way I'm sort of doing it. I don't know if that makes sense, but I've seen zoos kind of operate this way. Not many zoos have proper restaurants in them. I'm going to be honest with you. Prague Zoo did. When we went to Prague Zoo, we ended up sitting down and we had goulash, and it was like a proper restaurant. They kind of served it to us and everything. It was amazing. But that's literally the only zoo I've ever gone to where it's like that. Everything else is usually self-serve, isn't it? So yeah, that's kind of the idea. But we're going with this, upper level, lower level. The way this is going to work, where the ceiling's concerned, is from where that seat is there, this is going to be the high part. Yeah, we're going to probably bring it to there with the ceiling, bring it up to this point here, and then come over to like this way. So that's going to be the high part, and then there's going to be this piece here that's going to be a lower part of the building. So the outside of the building is going to look like it's got a higher and a lower part, and a lot of that is just because of this. And I've put this in here as well because I don't want the path to get out of control. Like, I don't want this building to look really big. I want it to kind of make sense, so that's why I've done that. This will be the lower part, but that is going to be a higher part of the building. A lot of this is because we need to disguise how big this is. So that's one of them things. And how I'm going to disguise this, you will see I've put a toilet unit there, gang. So we're going to have we have a door there that's going to say toilets. I'm not actually going to have men and women written on it. I'm just going to have toilets, a door there with that on. And then I'm going to cover that window up. So that's not actually, we won't be bothering with that. We just don't really need to, because we're not really going to watch people come in and go, oh, hello, and talk at that. We never really watch that stuff. So I'm going to cover that window up, and then I'm going to do a similar door here that says toilets, and then we're going to come in and then see where this black point is. I'm going to put men's and women's basically there. I'm going to put a men's and women's door there, and then this wall here I might put a disabled door. So that's what I'm going to do, and make this look like this is just the part of the restaurant where the toilets are, and that's how we're going to disguise it. Basically, that's my thinking. I'm using this new beautiful piece from the Twilight pack as well, which I really like, to be honest with you. So I want to go with quite a rustic look on the outside, so that it really fits in with the sea lions and it fits in with the new sort of NA area that we're building. It's going to be flooded with lots of natural light because of these big windows. We've got a door there. We're going to have a door there. And it's going to join up, like as you can see, with all the path and whatnot. This now all joins up, so we've got a secondary stair set. I reworked this so that we've now got a ramp for our disabled guests with the stairs that used to go all the way across, but I reworked all that. Moved the walls a little bit so these benches worked as well. They're a bit all over the place. Someone said there's a mod that you can free place bins and benches and they work, and I might have to look into that, because it really bothers me when we get these benches and they're not straight. But I guess that's, there are there's perfections in imperfections, they say, don't they? So yeah, there is kind of that. As you can see, some of the path is not quite finished because I've been basically working and pulling it here, there and everywhere. This planter is actually going to, once we get the front of the building in, it's going to turn this way and then turn and come back here, and I'm going to fill all that in with plants, and we're going to fill that in with some plants as well. I didn't get to do what I wanted to do, where we were like basically going to mirror this and this, because the restaurant ended up being a bit bigger than I thought it was going to be. But I'm going to literally put 20 tables in this restaurant. I want this to be a big thing, because it's the first proper restaurant in this part of the zoo. So there's something to be said about that. We've got an ice cream shop there. We've got like a little pit stop there. We've got those three little foodie pit stop things there, but there's no proper restaurant. There's no like proper sit down inside. There is one in obviously Adventure Africa, but we haven't used the restaurant thing to do that. I'm actually considering rebuilding that. I'm actually really considering rebuilding it, which might be a nuisance because it's obviously up on a ledge, but I am considering rebuilding that. The more I look at it, the more I just don't like it. I just think I've made the roof way too complicated to then decorate the inside. So yeah, it's the first proper restaurant in the zoo. So that's saying something, isn't it? So that's why I'm going quite big on it. I'm going to get that in. And I think we'll do a restaurant over here in the Asian area as well. And then I think maybe like centrally, I'm going to do a huge restaurant right in the centre of the zoo. I think that's going to be the best thing to do. And then we'll just carry on with these little pit stops all over the place, basically. But I think we do need some like proper out and out restaurants, which is one of the reasons why I've started it. So yeah, you can sort of see what the plan of action is. That'll possibly, well, no, not possibly. It will definitely be in next episode, that. It will be a big part of the next episode. And talking about the next episode, let's get to it now. So gang, I don't want to keep you too much longer, because there wasn't really too much in this episode that's really brand new, is it? It's just kind of a rebuild on a stable and the beginnings of a restaurant. But essentially, you're noticing I'm sticking in this area, so I'm really inspired to be working on this area here. Obviously, we put the raccoons and the skunk in last time. I did a slight rework on the prairie dog with the walls. I've got the restaurant begun. I've redone that stable. I'm really happy with the stable. I really love the way it looks. So we've got 3 more species going in here. We've got the dhole sheep, we've got the beaver, and we've got the wolf that I'm putting in this area, that I'm considering part of this area. And so the reason the restaurant's in is because, like I say, I've got to really kind of get a feel for the space and whatnot, and where these animals are going to go. So what I'm actually thinking of doing is, because I've put this in, I'm actually thinking of having like a little raised section here for the beavers. Basically, I'm actually thinking the beavers might be perfect, the next animal, like really perfect, like kind of over here. Now what I'm actually thinking of doing in the middle here is actually leaving this as an open grass area for people to like chill and sit, because I haven't got enough of that in this zoo. And obviously I'm looking at the path and the way it's all joined up, and I'm actually thinking of having this as like an open, like we might put some like nice metal railings like along the side, like a nice metal fence like along the side, and then have openings for people to go in, and they can just, you know, make the most of it, and they can run, kids can run around and whatnot, and just have it as a nice little open green area. I think that's going to be perfect basically to do there, and that's what we're going to leave that as. And I'm basically going to dress it up with plants at the, you know, the end, and plants the other end, and just leave that as a nice open green space, because we just don't have a lot of that in the zoo. And then we'll have the beavers over here, so it'll be a nice little split between. The beavers won't be right next to the restaurant. There will probably be, you know, some planting and some, you know, some trees and whatnot. And I'm kind of leaving this, I've kind of left this here because although I've put this in because I was going to plant this, we might have to put a little gate here, and this might have to be our staff access point basically, because I just don't see how we can come out the back of the building, because we've kind of got to put something in to kind of suggest there is a point. And we might have to put a fence because we're going to be bins and all that sort of stuff. I have to remember all this. I do forget sometimes. So it won't be right next to the building. We probably will do some trees and whatnot, but we'll do like a little up, you know, a lip up, and then there'll be some path and whatever, and then we'll maybe do like a little viewing area for our beavers, and they're going to go kind of in there. We'll do that open grass area. And then again, we'll come off the back of the beavers. And then the wolf habitat is going to be really unique, because what I want to do with the wolf is, here, I want, again, at this point here, I want there to be a raised viewing platform, and I want to look it like, I want it to look like there's a wooden boardwalk that people are on, and it's kind of, you know, like that. And then that's going to be there like a lower point for the wolves, and it's going to do the same thing that the sun bears does. It's going to start low at the front, and it's going to work its way up and be a banked habitat basically all the way to the back. And then the reason I'm doing this is because the back of the hab is going to be the sort of almost ground level for back here, right? And that's where the polar bears are going to go at a later date. And I want them to be at a higher level, because I'm going to have to really dig that down for the polar bears, you know, and I want the viewing area to be a little higher. The reason I got to dig it down is we're going to be doing water and all sorts in there, and so I think a nice kind of, I think that's a really kind of natural thing to do for wolves as well. I see it a lot in zoos when they do these like hilly verges and whatnot, and we'll do that, and then, you know, we'll have a big kind of almost like veranda type viewing area at the front. We'll really heavily kind of plant it up on the side, and then what we'll do is, you know, halfway up we'll do like a shack that's actually on a slant, so there's the path inside it is on a slant, and the building is kind of like that, a bit like they've got at Colchester Zoo. And then inside that we'll have some glass viewing areas, some glass windows, like a covered viewing area basically, and inside we can have all information on the walls about wolves and whatnot. And then the dull sheep, I think we'll kind of put over here, I think, and just do like a little hab, and maybe that little path there can be the one that comes on over to the dull sheep, and that will basically complete North America, and we'll have our polar bears at the back. And that, I think, is probably what I'm going to work on for the next few episodes. I'm really inspired to do it. I've got lots of ideas. I kind of know how I want everything to look, and I think that's the best thing to do. I think why it's fresh in my mind, why I'm really, really, you know, up for it, really want to work on it, I think that's the best thing for us to be really considering and sort of like cracking on with basically. So yeah, that's kind of what's going to be coming next, my friends. Let me know what you think of it. Let me know what you make of today's episode in the comments. I'd really, really appreciate it. So there you have it. We're done and dusted for another episode of Tropical Wing Zoo, my friends. I'm not going to keep you too long for the cinematics because, like I say, it's a bit of an update episode really more than anything. But let me know what you've made of my work in progress and my updates to that stable. I would really, really appreciate it. If you're new around here, show your support by subscribing to the channel. There's lots of Planet Zoo content coming, as well as all the other bits and bobs that I upload from on a daily basis. Drop a like on the video if you've enjoyed it, and as I've already said, get involved in the comment section below. I do have a Discord if anyone's interested. It's in the description. Come join it. We have lots of fun there, and you will not regret becoming a big part of the community. But anyway, my friends, stay safe, stay humble. Until next time, see you all later.